So, anyway, what are your goals? I'm gonna crash. My goal is to not crash. No, my goal is to get these bitches out of traffic. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with them in the first place. It's a nice ass day though. It's beautiful outside. And there's some curves here, ma'am. Ma'am, there's curves, ma'am! Ma'am, that's curves! I'm just playing. Anyway, I was up texting my family last night, but I got a good night's rest. I meditated. I still do my binaural beats, and I still meditate doing that. I don't use words or anything. It's just two tones and two different frequencies in both ear, and it forces your brain to figure it out, but it forces it to create what you would call coherence, and it's taking two different signals, and when you have two different signals, and now this phenomena exists in our body, and it also exists in different levels, because what was found when they observed the bioelectricity or the energy bodies of plants, they found that this phenomena existed where you can force coherence in the body and the brain waves. You can make the brain waves calm down. If you fuck it up with two different tones, you can create one tone with two different tones, and you can do that with binaural beats. And they figured that shit out in the CIA and shit, trying to figure out if we can do telepathy and shit, and they figured out that we could, but it wasn't that goddamn serious, because it was just some weird, it's just some earth shit. It's just how the earth works. I don't know, but it's not anything you could exploit, because it's the most precious, it's just a sacred thing that the earth does. It's the collective consciousness that we all share, and it's just a gift from God, and there's nothing that you can do to exploit it. So they didn't feel it was worthwhile expanding upon, because it's not you're going to be able to find state secrets. You're just going to be able to guess colors or something. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. Maybe you could do more shit with it. I don't know, but it wasn't that serious. Next time I told myself I was going to open the sunroof because it was better. So basically I meditated last night. That was the point of what I was said all that for. And because I wanted to lead into 2020, but my house is still messy. So I got to go do that. And I haven't made any content for 2020. I haven't even made content for 2019. I skipped I just be skipping. I really tried. No, it really was the holiday, but I was not going to be like everybody else. And I was going to fucking do something worthwhile, and I skipped. But it's fine. I'm not going to trip, because I'm going to do my best. And my business is going to be about art. It's not going to be about work. So it's going to be about fun, and it's going to be about art. And if somebody wants to have fun, if somebody wants to spend money while doing that, then by all means, come on, come through. But my business is when I need to take a break. Devon's taking a break, because it is a lot being me. It is a lot being a human. It's a lot being you. That's why I started my podcast, Center of the Sun podcast, because you're a unique being and you cannot be contained in this physical reality. There is nothing that I cannot do. Therefore, technically it's possible. So the same thing is also true for you. And how would you know if you never tried? That's my point. How do you know anything if you've never looked? If you've never read anything, if you never listened to anybody, if you never heard anybody talk, or if you never fucking paid attention to anything, how do you know anything is true? You don't. So therefore, you need to continue examining your life, because you need to get your shit together. That's what I tell myself. But I realized about 2 years ago, I was fucked up. All my emotions were all over the place. It's taken me 2 years. This podcast, all this shit, it started with a podcast. So my podcast is only a placeholder for my music. And I started my podcast because I was fucked up in the head and I didn't know what else to do. And I had a little bit of money and I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy myself something nice. I'm like, fuck my bills, fuck everything. I don't give a fuck. I got a job. It is what it is. I'll pay it off when I pay it off. I don't give a fuck. These bitches can go somewhere. You could go. You can go somewhere. I don't care. I was like that fucked up. I still am, but it is what it is. I'm getting better. Thank you, Vibrate. But that's my antidepressant, Vibrate. But I was fucked up in the head and I bought myself a computer and I taught myself but I didn't know how to use Logic Pro. I used to use GarageBand back in the day and I didn't know how to use Logic Pro, and this is the end of my story. I didn't know how to use Logic Pro, so I was like, fuck. I have to teach myself how to use Logic Pro, but I know it's going to take me like 2 years to learn how to use it. I know how to use it now. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm going to have to do something. I want to do something with my voice. I guess I'm going to have to do a podcast. And that's hard. Well, so is making music, but at least making music is like my thing. And I love it. And so, unfortunately, I forget what I was talking about. But I started a podcast. It was a placeholder for my music. I forgot because I'm at Dunkin' Donuts. It's a placeholder for my music. And so now fast forward 2 years. Yes, Chile. We're just going to say that. About the meditation last night. Shucks. Bioelectricity, plants. We observe the same thing. We observe electricity in our bodies, but we also observe other forms of energy in our bodies that we don't understand. And I got in a Twitter conversation, because it wasn't an argument according to him, I guess. I don't know. I had a Twitter conversation with a man because in a conversation about genes, and race is not genetic. Sorry, I learned that in high school. And if you didn't learn that in high school when you learned about the Holocaust, because that's why these bitches thought that they could fucking kill somebody, because they claim they got some science and they claim that they know some shit about white people that wasn't fucking true about genes. And what we know now is that there is not one gene that dictates anybody's skin color. It's a collection of factors that we don't quite understand yet. And another thing that we don't understand is bioelectricity. And the CIA, I think they know, sorry CIA, if I'm on the right track. It's not intentional. Do not kill me. I'm not trying to do nothing with this information, but talk about it with I don't know. I just talk about it when I draw blood. I don't know. And we don't understand bioelectricity. We don't understand when we talk about bioelectricity, there's a charge. There's a charge on the inside and on the outside of your body, on the outside of your cell, on the outside of your body too. Because I mean, it's all relative. But there's a charge on the inside and the outside of every cell. It's like 1.4 volts or some shit. 1.4 volts. And it moves. And we can manipulate it. We can code it or whatever. And manipulate it. We can manipulate our electricity in our body, and we can use it to diagnose illnesses or whatever. But that's the electricity. That's the magnetism. That's what's caused by like wires and shit. And we have elements in our body. We have gold and iron and all kinds of shit in our body, just like a magnet or a machine does. But ours is in trace amounts. Ours is only enough to just like spark life. Like ours isn't, we're not here to fucking like be a thing, you know. Ours is enough to just keep us going for the time that we're here and to exist on this plane. But there are other things going on, and we observe this, and there's lots of papers, and that's why I'm bringing it to you, is because there's papers about it. People wrote about it, like scientists wrote about it, and like for some reason it's not real science when it's talking about spirituality. When you're validating spirituality, then it becomes oh, you're a naturalist, oh, this or that. No, I don't even know what a naturalist is. I'm eating Dunkin' Donuts. How am I a naturalist? Get out of here. I'm smart. That's what I am, bitch. I notice motherfucking patterns and I see a motherfucking pattern. And what I'm not going to do is ignore it like your dumbass. That's your problem. So, it is what it is. Y'all ignorant, co-violet. I don't argue with nobody. If you want to argue about race being genetic because you're a white supremacist, like you really want this, woo, that's for you. Applause. What we're going to be over here doing is being like whole supreme beings and shit. So basically that's what I got from meditating last night. And yeah, it is what it is. You should meditate. You should find the best way that works for you. Because I don't even like yoga and all that kind of shit. Like, I don't like exercising and like sweating and like moving around and stuff. Like, even though I have to, I don't want to do it. And therefore, I'm not going to. So, all of this was observed in plants. That's the girl, or that's the gag, or whatever I'm trying to say. All of this was observed in plants. And it really hit home for me. I was at a lunch and learn for hepatitis. And before they knew what hepatitis was and before they could cure it. So first of all, they can cure hepatitis, not HIV. Like, okay, that's some bullshit. My sandwich. They could cure hepatitis. But before they cured you, they had to do a biopsy to make sure you had it. And, you know, the graded and all kinds of stuff. How bad is the liver damage and da-da-da. Girl, they don't even cut your ass open no more. They use sound, bitch. They use sound. It's called a fibroscan or some shit. Like, I didn't even know that was what that shit was. It sounds so serious. It's like some humming. And wherever it goes, it's like your liver is a certain kind, it vibrates a certain kind of way. And then if it's cancer, it hums a kind of different kind of way. Maybe, okay, there's the cirrhosis. Bitch. If that's not God, like that's God. That's the Lord, not the Lord. Okay, so then we got to talk about like language and shit, but not the Lord, but that's God. Or not God either. That's... Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I was raised Baptist, so that's all I know. But anyway, that is the essence of reality. Is bioelectricity, is this animator, the great animator, you know. God is a Pixar animator ass bitch. That's what I believe. I don't know. Animism. It's a very odd concept. Very odd concept. But we're going to figure out. And maybe, and I was talking to my cousin the other day, and she was like, she made a completely valid point. I was like, God, the only people that can talk to me are my family, because we grew up together. We learned the same shit. So the only people that can ever have a debate with me is my family, because, oh shit, I'm swerving. The only people that can ever have a debate with me is my family, because they're the only people that are as smart as me. It's sad. But she made a very valid point. I only have like seconds. A valid point. That's why Jesus, like, that's why the whole thing is like, Jesus is supposed to come back and tell us like that what the thing is. That's why they're waiting. That's why we're waiting. I was like, oh, duh. But the whole point is that we're not supposed to know. So like you have to choose. And that's this whole consciousness thing, is like people consciously choose to not know because that's what the religion is. I never knew that. That's news to me. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to I didn't know I was not ever supposed to ask questions. But I went to college. I studied theology in college. I didn't stumble on this myself. It was given to me by the Catholics. That's why we think they're devil worshippers. I think the Catholics are fine. Cincinnati's great. Cincinnati has a lot of Catholics, so it's a lot of Catholic people here. And I particularly don't care. I used to work for them. St. Vincent de Paul was amazing. During my time there, they raised $9 million based on all on donations, and 90% of that shit went right back into paying people's rent. And guess who got to write the check? No, I didn't get to write the check. Guess who got to make the phone call? You're approved. That's me. I love them. Best feeling ever. And it was during that whole time with the scandal with the kids and stuff. The way they handled it in Cincinnati was, that's how I mean, if you ever have a scandal, follow there's a template. There's a template. Anyway, I only got a few seconds left. I think it's gonna stop me. I don't know. I hope so, because that's the point of me doing it like this, is so I don't have to get in a crash. But if I do it at home, I don't have this sunlight.